Today I will be discussing biodiversity loss in rural communities. But firstly, to understand this social problem, we have to understand what biodiversity loss is. Biodiversity loss refers to the rapid declinization of living organisms and ecosystems. The primary causes include deforestation, hunting, urbanization, and pollution. According to the same article, Lee from 2025, 75% of the land surfaces have been significantly altered. 66% of the ocean is experiencing increasing impacts, and over 85% of the wetlands has been lost. Some of the impacts that biodiversity loss has, stated by Torrance and Tomlinson in 2025, habitat modifications caused by human interaction will create a ripple or cascading effect through food waves. So an example that I use is if our ecosystem is altered, the environment is altered, then our grass and soil are altered, which the soil is the same soil that grows our fruits and vegetables, which then will lead to us. Over exploitation of communities leads to animal populations dropping, local extinctions, and isolations, impacting the animals, and those are also the animals we eat as well. According to Chahan in 2025, rural sediment growth causes 3.5 more damage than urban expansions. The disturbance of rural communities includes scattered roads, farmhouses, vacation homes, and small getaway resorts. Between 1992 and 2000, urban expansion directly accounted for 16% of the global habitat loss. A way they have dealt with biodiversity loss is with Goal 15. Goal 15 was approved in 2015 to guide a path for economic growth, sustainable cities, and climate change for the year 2030. According to Impossible Meadows in 2023, Sustainable Development Goal 15 aims to conserve ecosystems, ensure conservation, and to protect natural habitats. As well as, according to the global goals, small tasks such as recycling, composting, buying products that are not tested on animals, and volunteering at cleanups is a great way to contribute to this goal. The two theories I decided to apply to biodiversity loss in rural communities is environmental justice theory and systems theory. The environmental justice theory, according to Erickson in 2018, ensures equal protection from environmental harm, fair inclusion in decisions making in the community, and connections of all living things. In 1991, the first national people of color created the Principles of Criminal Justice. It's devised of 17 principles made from the social work values. In 1994, the first addressed environmental justice in minority and low-income communities, setting a standard for environmental injustices made by the federal government. This was made by, I believe, President Bush. This is all in the Erickson by 2018. President Bush, he addressed the environmental justice in minority and low-income communities by setting a standard for environmental justice made by federal government. So the federal government couldn't do anything it couldn't do anything towards environmental injustices. It stated that the federal agencies will make environmental justice as part of their mission. For the systems theory, according to Erickson in 2018, systems theories is a framework used in social work to understand how different parts of a system are connected and how they influence one another. It is a central approach. It explains how problems are linked to a larger environment. It applies all levels, such as micro, meso, and macro, as well as including open and closed systems. According to Friedman and Allen, an Austrian theoretical biologist first explained the systems theories as a consideration of viewing an organism on the cause and effect, viewing an organism as a whole system. His approach relies on cause and effect, which also leads back to the cascading effect. This is how I would apply environmental justice theory to biodiversity laws. So I would first make a connection to biodiversity laws. Rural communities often depend on local ecosystems, therefore biodiversity loss threatens their day-to-day lives, health, and cultural practices. I would also address key issues such as unequal exposure to deforestation, pollution, resource extraction, etc., and limiting political power and land conversation can lead to solutions. I would apply this by including the community in the environmental decision, promoting distribution of clean water, such as water filters and bottled waters, and support sustainable practices by leading the community with community gardens and local water conservations. I would expect the outcome to be inclusive solutions that protect both the environment and the community well-being. I believe that opening the community to stories such as this one would contribute to more community knowledge, and for communities wanting to know a little bit more about what is going on. According to Sanders in 2024, environmental justice concerns in rural communities come from lack of political systems, political stance, and resources compared to policymakers in urban areas. Sanders uses a case of water nitrogens from fertilizers in Iowa that led to certain chemicals that caused cancer and baby blue syndrome. Baby blue syndrome is an exposure to certain chemicals that causes a baby's skin to turn blue. So their lips, mouth, and it is due to insufficient oxygen. For systems theories, I would start by addressing the cascading effect with and how it can lead to the direct and root of the problem. So a more clear example would be in ecosystem imbalance to reduce water, food and water security, and to money hardships. That would be an example of cascading effect. According to Happy Turtlestraw in 2024, the cascading effect occurs when change in one area affects another in another area. And their example is in Yellowstone Park, they reintroduced wolves to the overpopulation of elk. And that kind of lowered all and kept the balance in their ecosystem. For micro, it would be individuals such as farmers and landowners. I would want to empower these individuals to advocate for environmental rights and build awareness to the landowners and their land. For meso communities and local groups, by promoting community-led conservation, such as wildlife conservation, community gardens, and seed banks would be a great way to kind of include communities into this social problem. For macro, that includes policies and environmental laws. advocating for equitable policies and protecting land rights. For open systems, increasing transparency and community participation can lead to effective outcomes. However, for closed systems, ruling out individuals, communities from decision making can limit future solutions to the problem. So that's why I believe we should always include the community, and especially something that affects their environment and can also affect the things we eat and can affect our bodies, is very important. Over the years, human behavior has contributed to biodiversity loss in rural communities, shaped by survival needs, unequal power, and economical survival. These articles demonstrate the different ways human behavior can affect diversity loss. And this one, according to Novak, the public shows concerns about diversity loss, but tends to be overshadowed by other issues, demonstrating that individuals and communities are becoming more familiar in normalizing the environmental loss, which is leading to which is reducing the immediate action. So we talk a lot about diversity loss and we see the changes that are happening, but it's becoming so normal that it's nothing new to us and nothing new to our environment, and that's why people aren't talking about it anymore. For this one, according to the National Academic Press of 2021, inputs to agriculture in the form of fertilizer, pesticides, and the mechanization of farming have grown, which has produced higher yields, but has also increased pollution in the air, water, and soil. Many rural communities and individuals rely on farming, which can lead to overuse of land and can lead to environmental problems such as pollution. Some recommendations would be environmental justice advocacy. So advocating for fair environmental policies and plans that will regulate harmful inequality and protect wildlife. And it would be at a macro level practice. Something that's already kind of taken plan would be the Georgia Wildlife. Their plan prioritizes 150 actions to help recover and conserve the species and their habitats. This plan protects the rural plants and helps conserve them, demonstrating protection for their land. Another one would be using the strengths perspective. So building on existing community knowledge and to support and create conservation programs. According to BML, Bureau of Land Management, BML Plant Conservation and Restoration Program is working to ensure land managers across the country are able to buy the native seed that will work to restore native plant communities that will provide wildlife habitat, ecosystem services, and recreational opportunities. This program is planning to maintain and conserve native plants and pollinators that are important for their habitats and environments. The reason I chose to do biodiversity loss was because I had noticed an increase in residential homes in the neighborhoods that are being built in Dalton and Tunnel Hill. The route to Northwest High School was pure forest and untouched. However, it is now being converted into residential neighborhoods. When searching for my topic, I came along for biodiversity loss, and it really caught my eye because it made me think about all that land that was being lost and all those animals that are being affected. According to Price at Trees Atlanta, Georgia loses over 18,000 acres of trees per year due to these new residential areas. For my conclusion, biodiversity loss is an important cause that is happening in our small town. As it continues, our society will have habitat loss, pollution in our water and air that will lead to our tables. Environmental justice is a great theory when trying to help the community as a whole, and kind of prepare the community into making decisions for us and what is best for us. System series will also help define the cascading effect that is leading to health problems and species extinction. My references.